Yeah.
Otherwise, you're just kind of wasting your words. So,
Mhm.
but you had to work today, and now you don't have to work, huh?
No, maybe I would have had today off anyway. I don't know. It's like I have a deal set up with my dad. Like I work for him on weekends, and if I get and I was like kind of going nuts doing 7 days a week every week unless it rained. And so I get like 2 days off a month now on Sundays or if it rains on a Saturday or whatever. But
At the tree farm, right?
no, no, my dad has that's his hobby. The My
Oh,
family owns a car wash.
oh yeah, you did say that. You did say
Mhm.
that.
Hey,
JBC is in here. Chad, C&B Experience is Chad,
hey
and
Chad.
JBC is James, right? It is James, right? Um, cool. So yeah, people are going to filter in. Usually it takes a couple minutes for us to get a little bit of an audience, but um, for everybody that is just filtering in now, you can introduce yourself to
Yeah,
everybody.
hi. I'm Leaf of Greiss Axing Tool.
And for anybody that hasn't watched my video today, he is the creator and maker of the 30-inch Munasai
Hmm.
handle that I featured on my video today, which I think people are definitely interested in because it's doing really, really well. I've been monitoring it, since I posted it yesterday, obviously, and it's doing really well. It's getting a lot of clicks, and the advanced metrics or whatever indicate that people are watching. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
So that's good.
yeah. Well, you were doing some good shopping with it, man.
You know what, dude? I got I had a solid layoff of like over a month between the last time that I actually cross cut. So I was kind of worried that I was going to do it a bit of a disservice. And I will, sorry, I had to tie my shoe. I will chalk it up to the fact that it's really intuitive to swing. Um, so I think it probably, I mean, I don't want to sell snake oil or anything like that, but I think the fact that it's very intuitive really, really helped me look good in that video. Well,
Mhm.
looked better than I may have looked otherwise. We'll
Don't
just
sell
say that.
yourself short, man. You look good.
So, but
Yeah.
dude,
I
I
got a
love this build.
couple that I made with not so good lumber. Well, it's not bad lumber. It's just lumber that I wouldn't feel good selling to somebody. So there was, yeah. I showed you the taxi before we went live. I just finished this morning, and I think this is ash swell. I
Yeah.
laminated ash, and then this one, the Connie was warped, so it has uneven swells because it was warping way more to yeah, like this direction. So then I just put a extra on this so I could get it straightened out good.
Redbeard's in the house. What's up,
Hey
Ed?
Ed.
Be careful. Ed is working his third job as an Uber driver. He did not confirm or deny that, but Ed said he's always driving when I let him know we were going live.
Oh, I could not be an Uber driver, man.
Um, Dude, you know what? I just rode my first Uber for the first time back in December. My boss
Your
had
first?
everybody. My first. Never been
Wow.
in an Uber before. Um, my boss paid for everybody's Ubers home from the Christmas party. So I was like, "This is fucking weird, man. I'm just in some random guy's car." You know what I mean? But I'm at beach driving home after 6 or 7 drinks. But
Yeah, I mean that's how we got home from parties in college.
dude, I mean, you're young. You're younger than
Yeah.
me, anyways. I'm. I didn't even have like a smartphone or anything like that when I went to college. We had like flip phones, and we didn't have internet in our apartment. We didn't even have cable in our apartment, dude. Dude, I learned how to play like several instruments in college just for lack of shit to do. So yeah, man. But dude, so we've got some people up in here now, man. So let everybody know, like what you're about, um, what the Munasai handle is all about, and then we'll go from there. I'd love to know too what got you into the axes as well. But let's just start with what you have to offer.
What I have to offer, dang, that's a yeah, I make handles. I started making handles back in I started practicing in April. I didn't make my first handle until like the end of May. I just like there was just pine boards around it. I just started carving them just to practice because I'm like I'm not gonna waste like good lumber on if I screw up. But yeah, I
Yeah.
make handles. This is the Munasai. I designed this. It's a chopping handle. There's a Connie on this one. I got a Tassie right here, high test forged. These are designed for chopping. They got a the center line. The gosh darn, I'm horrible with thinking on the spot, man. But yeah, the center line. It's pointed on the belly. That is to help you know intuitively via haptic feedback, whatever you want to, whatever buzzword or whatever you want to use to describe it. Just know exactly where the head is going to go. Period. It was just an issue I had when I was swinging. I would just be like, dang it, why is the blade rolling a bit? Why am I not going exactly where I want to go? I'm new to all this, and I just was figuring stuff out. And then I watched East Coast Lumberjack video, and I think he talked about how Aussie handles or their competition handles have a pointed belly on them or a sharper
Mm-hmm.
belly on them. And then I'm like, that's it. That's what I've been looking for. But I was like
Yeah.
working on this handle for a while, kind of already. I like the first handle that I ever made was sort of in well, not the first handle I ever made. First full handle I ever made was sort of like the first in the pattern. It was just I have it over there. I broke it a couple weeks ago when it was so dang cold. It just snapped in half. But it was red oak. It wasn't that strong.
Yeah. Red oak is not great for anything more than like, hatchet, big hatchet handle. In my experience, anyways.
I would agree. I've made full handles out of red oak, and both of them have snapped right in the middle.
Yeah.
One,
The biggest I think I've ever put anything on red oak was like a little, maybe a 1.5 pound hewing hatchet. That's about it. It's about the extent of red oak. um, you there? Did I lose you? Oh no, no, you're there.
yeah, I'm there. No,
Um, what I was gonna say, yeah, the pointed belly on this thing is definitely it's definitely very very pronounced, and yeah, I think it's haptic feedback is a cool buzzword, like you said. Um, Especially if you want to handle to throw a big, bit heavy Tassie on, like you said, East Coast Lumberjack was saying that a lot
yeah,
of the
but
guys in the competitions do that. But I think where yours is interesting is I would not want the whole belly to be like that. Right around here, right around this sort of dog leg transition, it rounds off into a nice handhold.
mhm. Yeah, I mean that was like just very because I one of like the midway like prototype steps of this, just like a handle I made before I decided I was going to make a pattern. Really, I was just like I tried to make it straighter down to the bottom, and it sucks, dude. It's awful. And then I've like just like done a couple handles that have like been all the way down. And if like especially if you're splitting with it, it just smacks the hell out of your hand. It hurts like hell. Doesn't work,
Yeah.
in my opinion.
Ed says he concurs. Ed says red oak is great for furniture and things like that, but it's not a handle material, which is interesting because white oak is awesome. I love white oak.
I have yet to make like a full handle. I have a bunch of white oak that's curing from some limbwood from I don't even know how old that tree. It was probably like pre-Revolutionary War. It was a gigantic oak that was on the
Nice.
property. Just it got heart rot and just split open last fall.
White oak is great. Ash is not the absolute best for handles. It's a little bit, it dents really easy and it kind of chunks out a little bit too if you overstrike. It's not
Yeah, it
great for like a
does.
splitter handle, but dude, in my opinion, anyways, nothing looks better than an ash handle. Nice and oiled up. Do the coffee rub trick. Holy shit, dude! The rays on ash. I
Mm.
mean, for me, I love it. I love
Yeah,
it.
I like Ash too. I actually think Ash works on a splitter. I have maybe not like for like years, but I've I like there. I think you're probably familiar with the axe. Alex had it. It's this giant double bit. It's 5.5 pounds or so. It splits
The
like a
the double bit that you swing a lot in the videos.
yeah, that one.
Yeah. I
That's
don't
on
know if
that.
I ever messed around with it, dude. He's easily got 1,000 axes, so I don't know if I actually ever messed with it before, but I've seen other big oddity double bit heads like that he's had.
Yeah, it's just a monster, and I've had it on Ash, and the Ash like the board looks like it should be cracked. Like the actual like growth rings between it are really thick. It doesn't look like it's old, like it's old growth or like second growth, and it's there's run out, but that thing is held up. Like, and I don't like baby it either. So I don't
Yeah,
know.
no,
It
I've
does
seen you
it
swing
does
that thing.
break
Yeah,
and dent though. It does dent way easier than hickory.
that's the only reason I say it wouldn't make for a great handle for a splitter. More so, just because as you're, I mean, a splitter, the underneath the tongue there, what I don't think that's called the throat actually, although it should be the throat. But underneath where the head sits, that area there tends to get eaten up on splitters, regardless of how you're splitting and how careful you are. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I just don't think ash is as resilient as like hickory, but damn, is it pretty. And for a chopper, it's awesome, man. I'm trying to think if I have any. Dude, you know my deal
There's
is,
one
and
thing
you're
I
gonna
want
run
to.
into.
Can I interrupt you 1 second on Ash? The
Of
one thing I
course, of
do want to
course.
say is that like because it's so springy and light and elastic, it like you don't get nearly as much shock on your arms either when you're splitting heavy either. So that's the one thing I'll say about why I think it's can be pretty good on a splitter, even though it won't last as long as hickory.
Yeah, and if you can carve your own handle, then it's kind of irrelevant.
Yeah, it is.
So that's one thing that I'll tell anybody is and I'll go back to what you said earlier too. If you're on the fence about carving your own handle, just hop off the fence and do it. It's not that difficult.
It isn't.
It can be a little time consuming. You don't need crazy tools to do it. Look at
No.
line if you need a reason to go and jump into doing handle carving, go look at Lionhead Restoration. He has basically no power tools, and look at the video that he just posted on his Instagram and his YouTube. He did a gorgeous like triple laminate, inset laminate, palm swell ash handle with nothing but hand tools. In the He's traveling right now, so he's like living. I mean, it's a huge, humongous, beautiful camper, but he's working out of the back of a camper, like a toy hauler style camper. So his shop is like, I can't remember what he told me. It's like 8 by 12 or something. It's tiny. He's got no power tools whatsoever, but he's making gorgeous handles. So if you think that you can't do it because you don't have a bandsaw or things like that, think again because you can get it done.
Yeah, I started with basically only hand tools. I have a bandsaw now, the but yeah, I was just sawing everything with a crappy Craftsman handsaw that I bought years ago. And
Here, I'm gonna.
when I hung my first axe, all I had was sandpaper to work the tongue down.
Oh, dude, that's rough. I'm gonna show you what I used to do. You said that you used to use pine boards. Um, so I've been doing axe stuff since like 2010, 2011. I've started carving my handle. I started carving handles maybe in like 2017, 2018. I carved a few, but then right after we bought our house and I got a shop in like 20 August of 2021, I really started carving a lot of handles. I bought a bandsaw and I started making like tons of them. I would make sometimes two a week, Um, and like you, I didn't want to waste good lumber. It's expensive and it's hard to come by in my area. So what I was doing was making them out of, I don't know if you could see this or not, laminated pallet wood slats, oak laminated
Oh,
pallet wood slats. I would take one slat, right, and I would chop it in half, and I would book match it. So I'm not sure if you can see the lamination mark on that or not.
I
It's
cannot,
the
but
lighting's kind of bad,
yeah.
but anyways, this is just two thin slats laminated together with just wood glue, and I would carve these handles down. And dude, they hold up. I've given hatchets to quite a few guys now, and to the best of my knowledge, they're all still kicking around. I have a
Really?
freaking
Full
what do I
handles
have?
too?
What?
Full handles
No, no,
too, or
no,
just
no.
hatchets?
No, I never did that with anything more than hatchet handles. I mean, I knew better than that. But that's
Yeah.
not to say that I don't think a full size laminate handle wouldn't not hold up. Just with red
I don't
oak,
think it
it,
would
it certainly
explode
wouldn't.
immediately. I just always like wonder because you see some of the gorgeous stuff that people do that'll be like walnut or whatever all the way down, and then it'll have like a whatever core.
I
And
think walnut's too brittle for an axe handle. I think
yeah, no, walnut's a weird
I
wood, man. I don't think
I have
walnuts
a I
even make the
have a
most.
walnut handle actually that I carved. I did some hand riven lumber a couple years ago, and I don't know what I thought it was. I thought it was some kind of ash or something like that, and I broke it all down and and then riven it, rived it, whatever you would say, and then let it dry for a couple years, and then I planked it all up on my bandsaw, and I went to carve a handle for somebody, and I'm like, this shit is not ash. And I asked a couple of the boys, and they're like, "Yeah, that looks like walnut." I'm like, "Well, shit, this isn't going to be good for anything." I was going to say, dude, I made this little uh, tomahawk out of a lathing hatchet and a piece of laminate, and I've thrown this thing more than a few times, and it's held up great. So I guess the point is, if you think the barrier to entry is a bandsaw and a table saw to rip down boards and stuff like that, nah, you don't need it. Um, but yeah, I wouldn't necessarily use pine.
Oh no,
Uh,
yeah, I
yeah,
wasn't using pine for the actual handles. That was just like for me to like get a because I didn't have any experience woodworking really besides like wood shop in high school and middle school
you guys
before
had
like
shop in high school?
I feel like I did. I feel like I had it freshman year.
Dude, we didn't have any of that kind of stuff in high school. I took a class called, and again, I graduated high school in 2003. So
Mhm.
now this is kind of everybody knows what this is, but in like 2001, when I was a freshman in high school, I took a class called AutoCAD, thinking it was automotive. You know, I
Oh.
thought we were going to be like working on cars and stuff like that. And I get there, and it's a computer lab, and we're doing AutoCAD, like CAD drawings. I'm like, oh well, this stinks. But
Yeah, I graduated
my
high
high
school
school did not have any of
2013.
that. But where you live though is a lot more rural than where I grew up, so maybe they still had things like that. But let's see. So JBC Restoration, I'm not sure if you've been on his page or not, but he said he's just out of high school. He's up in Canada. He's making handles without a bandsaw, so he's doing it. He does nice
Yeah.
stuff too. You should check him out. He's got to start making long form content. He's worried people are going to make fun of him, and I'm here to tell you that 99.9% of the people are awesome, dude.
Yeah, they
Um,
are.
y- you'll get some shitheads. It's just inevitable, but
You just
you
have
know
to assume the thing you need to do is the mental trick is to assume that they're idiots that don't know what they're talking about. Assume the worst case scenario about them and you're fine.
Yeah, it's probably even not an assumption. And
Yeah, they're
anybody that's
probably
going to
fine.
pick on you because of like what you say your voice sounds like or something like that, they're a shithead anyways.
Yeah.
They're beneath you, so I wouldn't worry about it.
Yeah,
I would not worry about it.
mhm. Yeah, I just the main thing I use my bandsaw for is just for like the roughing out. I don't do it for anything else. I know that Rod East Coast Lumberjack, he does like all all eight facets of a handle with it.
hmm
I'm nowhere on that level. I'm not confident enough to do that. I'll destroy the wood.
It's really I've tried to do things like that before on my bandsaw. First of all, my bandsaw is not tuned enough to do really precise cutting like that. But yeah, you can get into some trouble pretty quick that way, both in destroying the project and taking digits off too. Um, did you ever? So you haven't been in it a super long time, and I don't think this guy's been doing axe content a lot recently. But have you ever seen any of the Jimmy DiResta videos, the axe handle videos?
I have not, no, but I know there's like a lot of guys that used to do stuff that don't anymore, like Bushcraft Sisyphus and stuff. But he's Lamka now, right? He's like one third of Lamka or what?
I don't
However it's
know.
called.
I don't know. I don't honestly, man. A lot of the big channels kind of just fly like underneath my radar. I pretty much just pay attention to like what my friends are doing on YouTube, and
Mm,
a lot of us post so much anymore that I can barely even keep up. Like I think Ed might be the biggest channel I follow, and Ed's got he's probably like closing on like 4,000 subscribers. Um, but other than that, I mean, everybody that I follow is pretty small in relative terms. Um,
yeah.
Duressa, he is a big YouTuber, and he's not an axe guy. He's like he does projects. But
Mm,
his whole thing is like he's a master at the bandsaw. A very good bandsawyer. Um, but he would do these axe handles before a lot of guys had handle carving videos on YouTube. And his whole thing was he would carve with the bandsaw. Like he would just take the guide, put the guide
mm,
all the way up, have the blade, running free, and just do a lot of carving with the blade. He would also do this thing that I have done on occasion, and I've been told by woodworking guys that it's not a good idea. But when you kind of run the wood parallel to the blade to kind of sort of sand almost, if you will, with the bandsaw.
mm.
It's kind of an interesting technique. From what I understand, it's not a very
I do
safe
that to sharpen
technique.
pencils.
Yeah, dude. I watched my dad and I built a deck a couple years ago, and I watched my father do that on a circular saw blade, and I was like, "Buddy, how the fuck do you still have all 10 fingers?" Um,
Oh, I keep my fingers way away. It's just I like on the carpenter's pencils or whatever they're called. I just put them down and use it to sharpen them
well,
because I don't.
I said a miter saw, dude,
Yeah,
a
no, I wouldn't
circular
do that.
saw.
I don't want to be anywhere near a miter saw 90% of the time.
Yeah. Yeah, man. I almost got in trouble when I was like a teenager on a miter saw. I came home from the frickin' flea market and I bought a Japanese well, it wasn't a Japanese, it was Chinese katana, let's be honest. But I bought like just like a cheap Chinese katana and I was like, you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna go out in Dad's garage and I'm gonna make myself hangers from my wall. I wouldn't have even known how to anchor them onto my wall, but I took a piece of like plywood or whatever, a piece of 2x4 they had, and I tried to make little, little angled brackets, right? And
Mm.
my dad didn't have a bandsaw at the time, and I didn't know what I was doing, so I was trying to cut angles on a real small piece, just holding it, bro, with a
Ugh.
miter saw. It sucked, it sucked the piece right into the miter saw and came back around and slammed me in the hand, and I thought I lost my finger. I did one of those things where like you know, you feel the pain and you clutch it. And I was just like, I couldn't even look. I couldn't even look. And I finally looked and I had my finger and I was like, well, that's enough for today.
Yeah, I had a I had an
So,
injury with a chainsaw last spring that I thought like I almost like severed my meniscus. It turned out it was like very superficial, but like, and it wasn't even running when it came back. It was on the backswing. I already put the safety on.
the break
Yeah, the brake. I already put the brake on. It was just stopping spinning. It just brushed my knee and like,
tore you up.
yeah.
Do you own a set of chaps now
I
or?
do now. Yeah. The thing was, the chaps arrived the next day. My dad had ordered the chaps
Oh,
because I was
dude.
helping him, and it was just, and he just wanted to get started, and we were doing it, and then
Come on.
that happened. But yeah, I always wear chaps now when I work the saw, and I always wear
Yeah, I know.
chainmail socks when I swing my axe because the dingo pup almost took a bite out of my foot.
Yeah, dude. I was just gonna say, I know you just bought a set of chainmail socks. Where did you wind up getting those from, by the way? Give them a shout out.
I think they're called Mail Tech. They're in Canada.
Mail tack. Yeah, I think I've heard of them. I've been doing a little bit of research on it too because I haven't had any issues with my feet, but I did have I'll tell you what, the first time I went to go fell with the dingo, I didn't put it on film because you know what I mean? You just don't need to hear it. You just don't need to hear from people about how you suck. But I
Yeah.
went and it shaclanked, to use a Buck and Billy Ray term, shaclanked right out of the notch and went flying down. And luckily it missed
Mhm.
me, but that was an eye opener.
Yeah, I've had a few of those happen. The first time was, man, when I started swinging. axes, I had no clue how to even use an axe. I didn't know anything about it. I was just doing it all off intuition. The axes were dull as hell. They probably had like 40-degree bevels on them
Yep.
that my grandfather sharpened with an angle grinder,
Yeah. Yeah.
and
And then you're wondering why they don't work.
I was just like, no, I wasn't like wondering why they didn't work. I'm like, damn, those guys back in the day were really tough.
Yeah. It's only recently, like within the last maybe like year and a half or so, that I actually started really trying to chop anything with my axes, other than like splitting firewood and like bringing them camping and stuff like that. But yeah, it's chopping with them has actually made me a lot better at grinding axes, believe it or not. Because
Oh
I
yeah.
see a lot of guys doing restorations, and you could tell whether or not like they plan on swinging the axe by the edge that they throw on it. You see a lot of really small, really steep bevels that are probably sharp. You know, they're very sharp, polished sometimes even. But you're like, that's probably not going to cut very well. That we got to take that shoulder of that bevel back quite a bit to make that a chopper.
Hmm.
Um, Come here. You want to say hi? Come here. Hey. She doesn't want to say hi. My dog is. It's raining here in Bucks County, and she refuses to go in the house, but she also doesn't like to hang out in the shop. But she's sitting there sniffing that pile of cedar,
Mm.
so
I don't know
she's
where
being
my
good for the
dog
moment.
is. He doesn't like when I talk on the phone.
Oh,
He
you're saying, Chad, that Duressa used the backside of the blade a lot. Yeah. You guys think your bandsaws are bad? Mine exploded 2 weeks ago. The blade shattered and it broke the door off the top. It was an Antique King Canada. Was it a 14-inch or smaller? Because that's my next purchase. Is a four. Your Jet is a 14, right, Leaf?
Yeah, which I mean, if you're looking for like vintage bandsaws, like I really recommend Jet. They have really good customer service. Like I was kind of like blown away how good their customer service was. Like everyone was very responsive. They sent me the wrong part and they're like, "We can't take it back, but we'll just send you a bunch of like the ones that you probably need for free."
Mm-hmm. Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, no, I was shocked.
I, I've I haven't really been looking super hard. Now that you're saying the vintage Jets are good, I might look into them. I was just kind of looking for like Delta, Rockwell, that kind of stuff. Um,
Yeah.
Dude, Alex bought a Central Machinery 14-inch bandsaw that's kind of like I'm pretty sure it's just like a copy of the Delta. And I know when he bought it, I was there the day that he picked it, or the guy dropped it off. Actually, it had a blade on it that would barely. It was burning. It was burning its way through the lumber,
Mhm.
not cutting. But I'm curious to know if he ever got that set up. Um, but
He's invited me over to carve handles with him, and he said that he
in,
wants to get it going. I don't know if it is working or not, but
in Phoenixville.
yeah,
Yeah, you
I've
got to
been.
go check out his Phoenixville place, man. He's got so many cool axes
Oh,
there,
that's the place I
vintage
go every time I
skateboards.
visit him. I've
You've
only
been
been
there,
to
okay?
Gold Nugget once. I'm almost always going to his Phoenixville place. He taught me how to split. He's the one who taught me how to split. I didn't know how to split before I met Alex.
Alex is a cool dude. I met him like, I met him at the Golden Nugget before he really even got super into axes. Like he, his company's called Chef Teaks, and he
Mhm.
used to do almost entirely like old school cast iron, old school like kitchen accessories, knives, sharpening steels, hog splitters, things like that. So
Yeah.
he had a table of all that stuff laid out, and he had like 3 or 4 axe heads just hanging out there, and that's what drew me over to his table because I had been to Axis for a couple years, and he had like I want to say like a Kelly Perfect or something that had a cracked
Mm.
heel on it, and I remember we made a deal for it. But I took his number and wound up just becoming friendly with him or whatever. He's Alex is a solid dude.
He is.
I've never had an issue with Alex ever. He knows his stuff. Alex is the
Machinist
mad.
Mike.
Oh yeah, machinist Mike. He is the mad scientist of axes.
He's the mad
He's
scientist of
axe.
handles.
Yeah, He's the axe hippie, is what Alex is. Like he's like
Yeah,
super into like natural healing stuff, and I know he does like he's a gardener now, and he does like a full on vegan diet and stuff like that. But
he's building a sweat lodge.
yeah,
He infuses mushroom powders into his the oil that he soaks his heads in. I mean, not his
yep,
heads in, his handles in.
yeah, yeah. And I know Alex knows this stuff too about like survival and things like that too. He went to the Tom Brown Tracker School. I don't know if you know what that is, but
I do
yeah,
not.
he knows his stuff about like Alex can do like a bow drill fire and things
Yeah.
like that, which
If the
is
apocalypse happened, Alex is one of the people I'd like want to like get up with like right away. That dude knows so much survivalist stuff. He's one of the most interesting guys I know.
yeah. And you know what the thing about Alex too with that kind of stuff is he's unassuming with it. Like you wouldn't assume that Alex can start a bow drill fire or whatever because he like he's like a skateboarder and he wears like tie dye and you know what I mean?
Mhm.
Like, but yeah, dude, yeah, Alex, he'll be good. He'll be able to
Yeah,
survive
they
the
don't just pick up a
apocalypse.
random plant off the ground and be like, "Oh yes, it's this plant, and
Yeah.
it's edible and it has these health benefits." And
Oh yeah, yeah. He hangs with the tribes in Africa too, and I'm sure he's learned a lot of like bush stuff from those
Mhm.
people. I know he was selling the African. I can't remember what they're called, but like the weapons that they use with the club on the end or whatever. He was selling those for a while. Um, but he's always posting stuff about like the mission and stuff like that he does over in Africa.
He was telling me about the axes they have that they weld like metal pipes onto axe heads, then they split lengthwise.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, they use what works. I know they
Yeah,
make like sandals out of rubber tires and stuff like that. They
yeah,
they really do use whatever works. Um, hey, if you're in here, guys, and you haven't hit the like button because it'll help the live get pushed. Um, yeah, we're kind of dwindling a little bit, but let's get the chat going a little bit. Does anybody have any questions for Leaf? Remember I was telling you I had a buddy that was interested in your handle. Machinist Mike is the buddy, and you said
Oh,
hit him up on Instagram, but he doesn't have an Instagram, so he's got
you
to
can
get
hit me
one.
up on Facebook too.
No, 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 it's got to be through Instagram. Mike, make an Instagram. I've been
Yeah, do
trying
make an
to
Instagram.
work with me here,
Instagram's
Leaf. I've
fun.
been trying to get him on Instagram, and he won't do it. Because he does the awesome sharpening and he does the really really awesome wedges and everything like that. And I'm like, oh, how do you reach out to him? I'm like, well, you got to text him, but make sure you text him correctly because he'll yell at you if you don't. Mike
Mm.
Mike likes to put this narrative out that he's a curmudgeonly old man, but he's like the nicest dude.
Yeah, no, Instagram's great. Instagram is like the only social media I have really because it's very chill. A lot of axe guys there, and they're always posting cool stuff, and they're all
Yeah.
really nice.
Yeah, Instagram is nice because you can literally just flip through the pretty pictures and you don't need to like, even like when the person writes a whole little blurb, it kind of is just hidden. Maybe
Yeah,
Mike might be the most curmudgeonly person in Minnesota. Maybe that's just what it is. So that automatically makes him like super nice for the East Coast.
yeah. People are not nice out here. When I moved up back here from the south, I was like, why doesn't anyone say hi to anyone anymore?
Yeah. Yeah, well, you know what it is too. Like around here, it's funny because asking somebody how they're doing is like everybody will be, how you doing, how you doing, but like you don't expect I don't want to know how you're doing. I'm just acknowledging the fact that I see you. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah, Chad. I'm from PA. I'm over in Berks County.
Yeah, Chad's a PA guy too. Chad's down by the Maryland border, I think, though.
Oh, okay. Near the Mason Dixon line.
Yeah, Chad is southwest of me, so I guess he's probably due south of you, quite a ways, anyways. But dude, once I get this car situation figured out, man, I definitely we gotta get up together and do some swinging and stuff like that. It'll be cool.
Yeah, Mike. I'm going live with the handles when I get enough good lumber. That's sort of my main thing. I'm trying to build connections and everything to get that. I have a bunch of lumber drying. It's just I don't have anything that I would want to sell to anybody. I'm kind of picky about this as far as like what I'd sell to or like give to people. Joe, you saw the handle I gave you. It's not everybody got stuff as nice as you. You got the nicest one, but like that's a really nice handle and it's really good lumber. That's what I want to
You
give to
know,
everybody, like in that neighborhood.
yeah, this is beyond nice lumber. It's practically perfect. Um, like you when you see grain that looks like almost like topography like that, like it's dead straight and dead flat almost through the whole board. Like runout is like inevitable on a lot of almost every piece of lumber is going to have runout to a certain degree, but
Mhm.
and this one really, I mean, maybe just the tiniest little bit back here, but it's 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 perfect. And you know what was funny too? You were very concerned about like the I'm not sure that because that wasn't a kerf, right? In the top, that was just like when you went to cut the board, you misjudged
Yeah,
or something.
I was like so in the zone that I didn't pay attention and I cut the middle instead of the side.
It actually it straightened out perfectly.
Yeah.
I don't know if you could see that. It's slightly off center, but I was kind of like, oh, it's going to be like a little bit of like a 30-degree wedge, whatever. It's dead nuts straight, slightly off center, but it's all good. It works because that was the one thing I'm like, man, this is I want to be able to show the show the axe from the the view like looking down this way to show the curve
Mhm.
of it or whatever. But I'm like, I don't want it to look like he cut a wonky kerf in it. But these are not going to come with kerfs cut. Period.
No, no.
They're going to
I
just
don't
come with a
like
full tongue.
I don't like pre-cut curves on on handles that I buy. I wish nobody did it, to be honest, because it's really not that hard to cut a curve yourself, and I don't like how it compresses the tongue. Like I don't like how the tongue compresses the curve when you're fitting the head, unless you take off a lot of material.
I've always just found too, like especially well, I don't want to take the head off this one right now, but like when you're fitting a Connie, let's just say, right, you really have to narrow out the front of the tongue. And I always find that like when the kerf is already cut, sometimes you wind up getting an issue, especially at the very end, where you might split off the front a little bit if you get a little overzealous with the rasp or whatever.
Mm.
You get that kind of like crack or whatever, and like So, and it always happens at the very end too, when you've got 2 hours or whatever into um, building the axe. But yeah, I think no kerf is probably solid. And then that way too, if somebody wants to do a cross wedge or something crazy, or I know Mike was talking about doing an X wedge at one point, which that's a very ambitious
Yeah,
uh, wedge.
Poom.
But
Have you ever watched Poom's projects? That channel
yeah,
in Thailand.
yeah,
Yeah, he does crazy stuff like that all the time.
yeah. I go back and forth. I mean, I think he does really cool stuff. I think all that stuff is like way form over function.
Oh yeah, no, I would not want to
But it's
swing a single
beautiful.
one of those. Oh, they're gorgeous. Like, but yeah,
I always wonder too. I don't know any of the species of wood. Like I don't know any of that stuff. But I'm always like, these things are going to explode if he
I have
ever
like
tries to use them.
I have a giant spreadsheet of like all these different wood species that I've like looked into because when I started, I'm just a nerd for data and crap like that. So when I started, I'm like, how good is hickory? Like thinking like, oh, I'm gonna crack the code. I'm gonna like expose the matrix. I'm gonna figure it out. And nah, hickory's just the best. It really is just the best. There's just a bunch of other woods that probably are suitable too. Rosewood, like on paper, looks like it would be really good, like for a handle. The problem is that like most rosewood is illegal to buy, like
Hmm.
ethically, or
Yep.
like almost all of it is like harvested by wood poachers, except for like I think like one species that's in South America. But like most of it is like you're not allowed to buy it, like in most
Yeah.
markets. And then there's other stuff too, but like hickory kind of is the best, like globally, like if you can get your hands on it.
Yeah. I think hickory is like it may not be the very best for every single thing, but cumulatively, it's probably the best for axe handles for sure. It's got the spring, it's got the longevity. It's relatively high up there on the Janka scale for like a handle material or whatever. And you know, like you were saying, reinvent the
I
wheel too. Like, there's a reason why hickory has just become the de facto standard. You know what I mean?
Yeah. It also grows fat relatively fast. It
Mm-hmm.
like not like crazy fast, but like relatively fast, and it's like available through most of like the northern United States. I don't think
Yeah.
they really get it up in Maine. I think I was talking to Josh of um what's his chin? Oh, Axe Yankee Josh. I was talking to him about that, and he doesn't have hickory up where he is.
Yeah,
But
I
he
think
was
there's
telling
a
me
lot of
hawthorn
conifer
beam
up
is
that way, right?
yeah. Yeah, he was telling me hawthorn beam is really good if you can get one that's straight at all, which is basically never. But he was telling me he really likes that, and I think yellow birch. He's told me he really likes.
Yeah, yellow birch is one that I was not aware that birch was a suitable handle material, but I know a couple. I think Whiskey River did a run of yellow birch. Maybe Hoffman did too. Can't remember exactly. I got a piece of canary that, speaking of machinist Mike, he gave me a piece of canary that I'm going to try to make a handle out of. Maybe like a shorter one, 24,
Hmm.
25, something like that. Um, it's going to be for probably more of a decorative piece anyways, so I'm not super concerned with the longevity, but that should be kind of cool. Canary is kind of like one of those ones where you look at the specs and you go, hey, this should probably work, but I think it may not be super mainstream, maybe be for a reason, you know? I don't know if I've
Yeah,
ever seen like a 36-inch canary handle before, but I'm thinking about doing a boy's axe handle, and it might be for a project that's not necessarily a wall hanger, but more of a kind of a special piece that maybe is only going to get fondled and looked at every now and again.
I don't know if they're still doing it. I think I saw that on Hoffman Handle's website that they were selling like some 30-inch canary wood ones, but they like put there in the thing like don't expect this to be as strong as like a hickory handle and et cetera,
Right,
et cetera, et cetera.
right,
But
right, right.
I want to try
Um,
Osage so bad. James is JBC, right?
yeah,
Yeah,
come here.
James. I want to try Osage so bad. I just haven't been able to get any lumber of it yet. Like
Does
on
Osage
like
grow around here?
I think they do. I just don't have any lumber. And the mill that I usually go to, they like have it, but it looks like it came from a tree that was way too small or it's limbwood or something.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not suitable. But I
Yeah, because I
really want
think
to try Osage. Like on paper, it seems like it should be the ideal handle wood because it's apparently more elastic than hickory. It's harder than hickory, but it's still like up there in toughness.
yeah, yeah. I was gonna say I think the only knock on it over hickory is it's not quite as tough. But it looks good though.
Yeah, and yeah, and it looks cool. It's orange. And I think Kevin was telling me that like it's oily too.
Um, I don't know. I don't know. I have a couple Whiskey River ones. I know he just got a couple of the Hoffman ones for a special dingo that he did for a guy. And he was saying how like the difference between the Osage were it almost seemed like different between the ones that. But I think Hoffman was pre-oiling a lot of their handles too. Maybe I'm not sure. I don't know.
I don't. I have not. I've only bought hardware store handles, and I bought a Buck and Billy Ray handle once. Those are the only handles I've ever bought. I've made all my other handles myself.
I have the gamut of handles. I mean, clear. I probably
Mhm.
made like 50 something handles at this point, so not crazy. I mean, I'm not like I don't want to be like I'm some kind of crazy handle maker, but I've made more than a few. And then I've tried almost everything from Whiskey River at this point. I've got limited experience with the Hoffmans. I want to try that TD handle co. I know everybody that's gotten one off of TD has had good things to say about him. Kevin had good things to say. I've seen a couple things from a couple different guys on the Axe Addicts page, and I know Ed. When Ed was up at the main meet, he met the guy, and the guy sent him a couple, and Ed had nothing but good things to say um, about TD. So I wanted to give them a try. They have some interesting patterns too. He does a lot of the the New England style.
Yeah, yeah, those are all like traditional New England style patterns that he's replicating, right? Or like in that vein.
I think so. Yeah, I know he does some Adirondacks too. I think he's got a couple cruiser, like he does a cruiser Adirondack, Vermont, a New England curve style. He's got for somebody that's only a couple months after going live. He's got quite a few patterns for you to choose from. So
Yeah,
um,
I want to buy some East Coast lumberjack handles. I've
he's got a lot of patterns.
Yeah,
East
he
Coast
does.
Lumberjack.
And his all his stuff is riven and hand carved, and he usually leaves like, and he gives you a lot of options as far as like if you want him to finish it yourself, or he'll leave it like unfinished and you finish it, so you can decide the thickness and everything.
Here's one that I've been working on. This is a rugs from Whiskey River, and this is one that I like. I just wasn't super. I had the same thing with the LUM. I just wasn't super into it looking at it on their website or whatever. But I wound up getting a couple in hand, and this is going to be a good working handle. This rugs. The one thing that I did do was so this is the Rugs Handle Company. I guess is like a an old handle company that's now defunct. I had never even heard of them until I did a little
Mm.
research. I mean, you hear of Tatum and all that, but so apparently they were operating around the same time and in the same sort of areas. But this is a pattern that I guess they replicated, and I don't know if this is done purposely or not. But it's thin, and then right there. It starts to really thicken up towards the palm swell.
You're
I
cutting
spent some
off,
time.
Joe.
Oh,
That part was cutting off.
so it's kind of thin here, right?
Mhm.
And then right around here, it starts to thicken up a bit. I spent some time last night with the spoke shave and kind of thinned it out to get it to one sort of even. And then I just really like made the transition a little bit more abrupt on the palm swell, and I like it a lot now. I want to work on the undercut here just a little bit
Mm.
more, just kind of really make that undercut a little bit, but
Yeah,
it's
that
kind of
really
a
makes
cool
a
one. It's
difference. Otherwise, you
it's
like,
like just looking at it online, you would just go, it's kind of just a straight handle, but I don't know, man, I like it. And then I threw this Fulton. Everybody on the short the other day told me they like this Fulton, so I put the Fulton on here. I got to wedge it still, but
what's that? What pattern is that?
it's a Michigan, and it's got
Yeah, that's what
some
I thought
kind
it
of
was.
interesting. It's got. Let me try to see if I can get the catch to light a little bit more. I don't know if I would call them Yankee bevels, but the transition here in the cheeks is
Mm.
pretty cool. And it's a pretty old one too. So I'm
Michigans
gonna
are
put
one
a
of the weirdest
nice.
patterns. There's so much diversity in Michigans in shape and size and everything. It's like probably the most diverse pattern that I could. Hey, Kevin, how you doing? Fantasizing, really?
He should be spending family time right now. That's what he told me. He's like, "Hey, I'll pop in if I can, but I'm gonna be hanging out with my family today." But I'm like, "Well, dude, just put us up on the TV and watch as a family. What the hell, man?
Yeah, exactly.
We'll behave." Um, dude, Michigan, I think is like probably the most underrated pattern. No, but I said this to Kevin the other day too. I was like, dude, I don't know why, but I just feel some kind of way. I almost feel like I'm wasting a handle putting a Michigan pattern on it. But he reassured me that it's a cool head. But I'm gonna probably wind up flipping this one. I'm gonna hang it, finish it up, finish it however I'm gonna finish it. Maybe shoot some test videos with it or whatever, and then I think I might just try to flip it. I'm starting to collect way too many axes, so
I have like 40 heads in or more, probably like maybe even 50. But cool Michigans. I mean, this is a Woodings Verona. Check out the pitting on this thing. It's
oh,
crazy.
that's interesting.
Like I'm do not plan on using this. Think I'm gonna turn it into a wall hanger or
Yeah,
something because I don't
tree
need
fitty.
I have too many I have too many like good chopping axes. I don't need like to use a Woodings Verona.
Ed says Michigans are loner axes. Hold on one sec, man. I got to go let the dog in the house. I think she's
Mhm.
finally had enough of getting rained on.
Oh. Tree fitty. Tree fitty what,
Come on.
Kevin? Ed,
All
why
right.
you gotta say that about Michigans? Michigans are not loner axes. Michigans are a noble, hardworking pattern.
I have a really. I got to see if I can find it here. This is starting to get very very precarious over here in this rack. It's getting tight. Yeah, here we go. So this is a cool one. This is the fail axe. I don't know if you watched that video or not, but this is a knot clipper Michigan. This is like the one Michigan that I really think looks nice. But I put this on a straight like 26, 27 inch that I carved out of ash
Mm-hmm.
with locust swells. And um, I don't know if it bowed on me or I'm not going to totally absolve myself of hanging it like a dickhead, but I feel I feel like I've been doing this long enough to where I would not have hung it as crooked as that. I
Yeah.
feel like this might have just not been fully dry when I
Mm.
carved this handle, and it took a twist and a bow. And I went out to go use it, and it was just an epic fail. It was not swinging true at all. And then on top of that, I think that the grind that I have on it was not suitable. And I also think that the timber that I was chopping on was ridiculously hard and petrified. But I posted the video anyways
Mm.
because, you know, um,
You
they
really
can't all
gotta
be winners. But
put power into swinging when you're swinging on like really dry hardwood that hasn't rotted at all.
yeah, and putting a lot of power behind an axe handle that's not swinging true is sort of it's a
Yeah, that's a
recipe for
recipe
disaster.
for a deflection.
Yeah, and this thing is the deflection monster here. So it's also a short little handle with a. I think this is an overweight 3.5 head. This thing feels like it's heavier. I thought this was a 4 pound until I hit it with the wire wheel and actually uncovered the 3-2 stamping in the corner.
Mm.
So it's stamped 3-2, but I took a lot off the cheeks on this thing. I really took the grind back. Not clipper steel, man steel in general is like plum. It's like Mike calls it kryptonite steel. Not clipper steel is very very hard. I
Oh,
can't
is
say that
plum
about
steel
all
usually really
mans.
hard?
Plum steel. Oh, you know what? I'm surprised you don't have a lot of experience with plum being in Pennsylvania.
I have a bunch of plums. I just like as far as like brands go, plum is
See you,
probably the one
Mike.
I have the most of. But I got this Dayton right here. I got this from Alex. This is like a tiny one. And it
Mm.
already had like a 22-degree like crescent grind on it. I just had to like bring it out a bit. This one's gonna be for sale at some point. I just need to make a handle for it.
My experience with plum is their steel is overly hard. It's just unnecessarily hard. Um,
I
I know a lot of guys will jump up my ass about it because there's a lot of plum fans out there. Um, I I mean, I like them. They're fine. They're okay. They're just unnecessarily hard, in my opinion. I've seen more cracked plum heads than I see any other heads with cracks in them because of the fact that they're so hard, in my opinion.
mm,
And around here, they're just a dime a dozen. So I don't. I've just been kind of been desensitized to the brand. You know what I mean?
mm.
I also am not a huge fan of round lug jerseys. I like pointed lugs on my jersey. So um, but I will pick them up whenever I can. I will pick them up because I know quite a few dudes that like them, are always looking to trade for them. So they make good trade bait, and they're fine axes. I mean, there's nothing wrong with them. Like if you're sitting at home fondling your plum right now, going, "Who's this Mill Creek asshole?" The plums are awesome. Like, dude, if plum's your thing, man, cool. Especially some of the higher end plums, like the champions and the autograph and all that. Those are cool. I had a champion for a couple of years actually that I snagged off Alex on an
Mm.
Adirondack handle that was real sweet, but You know what it is, dude? Like you get into it long enough and you just kind of find your little niche. Like for me, my niche is Kelly, 3-line era or before. Um, that's what I really, really like. That's what I always go after. I mean, this is just the quintessential, you know,
Yeah,
awesome Kelly made in 1930s, 1940s, something like that. 3-line, world's finest. Thank you again, Ed. Um, dude, this is my wheelhouse right here, man. I love it. Um, but what? So
yeah.
what is your? Do you have you kind of like narrowed down to a brand that you really really like?
I really like high tests. I can't afford to collect high tests at this moment, but
Yeah, pick a new brand. Pick a new brand.
I'm not picking. I'm just gonna wait until I can. I'm just gonna do it little by little. Eventually,
Yeah.
until I can. I
Let
have
me
a
ask
Tassie
you.
that might be worth trading for like a really good high test. I have a. Let's see, right here, Braids cockatoo. You can see the
Nice,
cockatoo right here.
nice. My buddy Joe Buckley just got a braids cockatoo, actually.
Cool. Oh yeah, Joe Buck. Yeah,
Yeah.
I've never
Well,
interacted with him one on one, but we're
oh,
mutuals.
dude, interact with Joe. He's first of all, he's over in Jersey. He's right over the border in Jersey, so he's close enough. If we ever get a meetup going, which we will,
Yeah.
I'll hopefully Joe will be able to make it. Joe's awesome, dude. I met Joe at the Golden Nugget. I was there one day, and I had been watching Joe's content for a while, and we literally rubbed elbows. I'm like, that's Joe Buckley, and he knew who I was already too. But I turned around, I was like, hey, excuse me, are you Joe Buckley? And he looked at me for a second. He's like, yeah, I'm Joe Buckley, and I'm like, dude, Mill Creek Axe Shack, and he's like, oh yeah, I guess that is you. I'm like, yeah, dude. I knew he was local, and I knew that he goes to the Nugget because he knows Alex, you know.
Mhm.
So now I meet Joe Buckley at the Golden Nugget every now and again, and I've been over to his house a couple times and dropped the dingo, and we're gonna do some splitting. But Joe fell down and busted his ass the other day. I think he broke his tailbone.
Oh
Um,
shit.
is this? Do you think this looks like a high test?
Uh Could be. That would be probably a later era one. Not that.
It's
Yeah, that kind.
big.
Yeah, I mean, what's the poll look like? Yeah, that might be a high test. That could be a high test. High tests tend not to have a poll like that, but I'm not an expert. I haven't
Yeah.
collected enough of them. I've held Dan Barry's. I held his Craftsman because he let me rehang it for him, and then he exploded the handle, chopping in like 17-degree temperatures, and then which I was
I
like, I don't even. How did you even do that? Like it literally looked like it blew up. Like it looked like it got hit by lightning.
He sent me the video because so that happened pretty recently, right? Like within the
Yeah.
last couple weeks. I sent him my picture, one of the pictures of my Munasai handle, and I was like, dude, the boy knows how to carve a handle, huh? And he sent me back like a little blurb. He was like, I just broke my handle from him. I'm so pissed. Like, and he sent me the video. I'm like, oh, dude. And I just said to him, man, sometimes there's just an imperfection in the piece of lumber
Yeah,
that you
that's what I
can't.
was guessing.
Yeah, sometimes it just is what it is, unfortunately. Um, because and what I said to him too was I'm sure it wasn't for lack of him not selecting good lumber. Um, just judging by the handles that you sent out, and like Kevin showed me some pictures of his too. Like clearly you know what to look for. So
Yeah.
sometimes there's just a piece of wood that's cursed.
Yeah, there
Um,
were some like little imperfections, like micro knots or like pin knots or whatever they're called, in the ones I sent
mhm.
like Joe and Brian and not Joe, you're Joe, Josh, Brian, and Alex. But that was the wood I had, man. I didn't charge anybody for the handles except for Kevin, but Kevin offered to pay. I didn't ask anybody for anything because I thought that'd be kind of corny and tacky.
Well, I'm gonna definitely buy once you open the books up. I'm gonna definitely be a paying customer. I'm gonna buy at least one more. Um,
Appreciate it.
I'd like to put maybe something like maybe a jersey on one or something.
Mm.
But yeah, dude, this thing I really really like it. Like honestly and truly, you asked for legitimate feedback, and I would not just be blowing smoke up your ass if you really did ask for real feedback. But I really, really enjoy it. I think it swings well. I think it makes, you know, it makes being accurate a lot easier. And I may have said this to you before. I think when I went out there, I was like, ah, let me just focus on accuracy. I'll leave the power for another day. And I felt like I was not putting a whole lot of effort into chopping, but I rewatched the footage. I'm like, you know what? I'm generating pretty decent head speed with the axe, and I'm assuming that's probably, sort of the levering. You got this kind of transition here. It's just atypical. Just
Yeah,
not the
it's
norm. But, the first time you sent me a picture of this handle, I thought the transition looked, a little wacky, and I was like, yeah, it's kind of, it's an interesting design or whatever. But when I actually got it in hand, I was like, oh wow, this is definitely like an interesting. It's not just a 2D difference. It's like the whole package is very atypical from what you see out there right now. So good job on doing something unique, man. It's super like anytime I make a handle, I'm usually looking at another handle. You know what I mean? So
mm,
kudos to you for looking at outside the box thinking a little bit. And I said the same thing to Kevin too, like with the dingo. It's like when you look at the dingo, it doesn't look like it's gonna work all that well. You know what I mean? It doesn't.
yeah, no,
It's
it's
not the
it's a
super
weird
super
looking axe.
sexy. Yeah, that's exactly. I'm just trying to use nicer language. It's a weird looking axe, but damn, it just works. Like
Yeah,
um, it just works. And I said to Ed too. I don't know if Ed's still around. I have the dingo out. Ed bought. He got just the head. And I said, you are not going to truly appreciate how wacky this thing is until you put it on. The 20 RB shoulder down, or the 30 RB shoulder down to like 28, and just see this chunk of steel. Because like this is a 20. This is, I think, finished out at like 29 inches or something,
yeah,
and
it
it
has the
looks
most
it looks
dramatic
like it's a
taper I've ever seen on any axe. Like in terms
yeah.
of the taper of the like actual like full bevel, it's nuts.
Yeah,
Like it's
it's not, yeah, like you said, it's just nuts. Like it doesn't look like it's gonna chop. It
and
doesn't.
then it slides through the wood like butter.
Yeah, yeah. This thing actually chops like eerily well. Like I like just the short fat bit. Like
Yeah,
you just
and
look
it
at it and you
doesn't
go,
stick.
well, yeah, it's gonna split, but I don't know, man. It just works, and that's what Kevin said too. Kevin sent me, the Kevin likes to put the I don't know the I don't know emoji a lot. He just sent the I don't know emoji and goes, I don't know, man. It just works. I'm like, dude, boy, does it ever.
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out what it is about that stuff. I was looking at. I've been like measuring all my axes at like right behind the bevel, and then at the midpoint between the bevel and like the start of the eye, and then at the eye. And I'm trying to figure out if there's some kind of ratio there that makes something a good splitter. Like obviously you can like look once you've held enough axes, you've swung enough axes, you can tell which are going to be a good splitter and which are not. But
So,
like this thing will split.
oh,
This
that
is
actually
tough to f
looks,
up.
yeah, that actually almost has like that sort of dingo dynamic to it. So,
Oh
speaking
yeah,
of
like this thing
axes
and
that
the
are,
dingo are like I don't know why this thing like I think this is just common with the forged heads. I was talking to Melbourne Reclaimed about this a little bit, and he was saying that he likes the the high test forged heads the most. He likes them more than the Craftsmans and the Foresters and stuff.
interesting. Um, I was going to say, so traditionally, everybody always looks at a rafting pattern and goes, "Oh, those are great splitters. Those are, that's just sort of the group, the sort of common thinking." Um, I don't know about all of them. I have a 4 pound plumb rafter that's a pretty decent splitter, but this 5 pound man, this thing is just a stick monster, is what this is. Like,
Yeah,
look at that profile. So the problem that I sort of have with these bigger 5 pound rafters is they just have so long of a bit, and they're so narrow. At least these Mans, anyways.
Mm.
They're not the greatest splitters.
Yeah,
Like
no, I think it
this got
definitely has
stuck
to
a
do.
lot.
Yeah, I think it has to do with like how fast the transition is. I don't think it's just like how thick it is at certain points, it's how fast the transition to thickness is.
I think you're 100% right there. So this,
Because I'm
so
gonna
for
go get the axe I made my wife, which is also not a showpiece, but this is a this is a wedge or a half wedge. I don't know how to tell those two apart, but
that looks to be a full wedge
yeah, I
to
think
me.
yeah, this is a full wedge that I got for like $3 from Alex. He just tossed it in with some other stuff I was buying, and this thing splits ridiculously for something that's like 3.3 pounds.
Yeah, and that's the one that you cut the butt end off the palm swell, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Um, I think the difference between a full wedge and a half wedge is has to do with the taper in the front or the back of the eye. I can't. So a full wedge will have like a flat, like there will be no dishing. Like when I say dishing, do you know that Mr. O'Connor gentleman introduced the term dishing to me. So
Mm,
dishing would be like concavity in the bit, really, you know?
yeah.
So from what I understand, if there is any of that forward of the eye, it's a half wedge. If it's totally flat all the way through, like, 45-degree, just keeps on getting thicker and thicker and thicker, totally flat, you can lay a straight edge on it all the
Yeah.
way from bit to pole, it's a full wedge. Um,
I don't even know if you could tell in this thing because this thing was beat to hell. Like whoever owned this thing, there is a freaking crater right here, man. Like
nice.
they were.
No, no stampings or anything discovered on that one?
No, I think that if there were ever any stampings on it, whoever or however many people had this thing, they beat the hell out of them.
Long
They're
gone.
they're gone. Yeah, long gone.
I've talked to a couple guys about this. Like you see the main axes beat up more than any other pattern. I got one I found locally, a wedge here. Look at the splay on that, dude.
I got another. I think that's just a main that's like that too. Yeah, like same kind of thing.
Yeah. You know what's cool about this one though? The freaking mushrooming on this one, and
Oh, that's
all
nuts.
all
That's
but look
insane.
at the eye. Look at the eye. The
Yeah,
eye
no, the
is
eyes holding up.
and the edge is okay. I mean, it's not good by any means, but you got a couple little whatevers. But some time on a belt sander and then hit this with the file. But I'm gonna have to take this mushrooming off with like a
Yeah,
sawzall. I was just gonna chuck this thing up in the vise and just hit it with a metal bladed sawzall, bro.
yeah.
Because that's gonna take a long time to hit that. Hey
Oh yeah.
guys, somebody hit us with some comments. Somebody somebody asked Leaf a couple questions or asked me a couple questions. Let's get the chat going because we're gonna probably wrap up in a little bit. I have some errands to run and some preparations because we're supposed to get a foot of snow, but I don't know if we're gonna get it or not. But
Allegedly, we're getting a foot of
allegedly,
snow. They keep
I
moving it
hope not.
back. They keep changing the numbers.
If we get it, I hope it's not till Monday or Tuesday, so I may get a chance at getting out of work. But
Yeah, I'm not gonna get a chance of getting out of work. I work from home, but for my main job,
if you don't mind answering the question, and if you do, I get it. But what do you do? What's your day job?
I'm the healthcare reporter for the Morning Call. I write about the hospitals.
Okay. Oh, so you still are in journalism then?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
When we talked about it initially, I think you had used the. I think you might have been. I might have in you. I might have inferred that you were saying I was into journalism in a past tense, like you'd moved on to different things. But
No,
that's
I'm
cool though,
still
man.
doing it. Mm-hmm.
How do we feel about Purple
You were a
Heart?
sports photographer, right?
So I went to school for photography. I'm a classically trained photographer, which this day and age isn't even a thing really anymore. YouTube, it just whatever.
Mhm.
I spent a bunch of money on college that I could have just gotten on YouTube these days, but went to school for photography, graduated, have a degree in that. First job out of school was working doing equine photography, sports photography. I shot horse racing,
Mhm.
at Monmouth Park, shot horse racing up at the Meadowlands. Was in several different trade publications and Sports Illustrated. Did that for like a year, and then I wound up transitioning to a studio that does commercial photography, and there I stayed for like 15 years. So I shot everything there from like headshots and magazine covers, real estate photography, product photography, executive group shots, annual report stuff, aerial photography. Like I've been up in a helicopter a bunch of times. Shoot, what else? Drones. We got into drones, did a little video work. So, and then I photographed weddings on the side since 2008. So yeah, I still very much am active in the photography space, but I just don't do it full time anymore because that I think it might be coming back around a little bit. I think people are kind of starting to realize that you know Karen that does accounting that also does hobbyist photography is not taking the best pictures. So
Yeah.
JBC wants to know how we feel about Purple Heart for handles. My question would be how long of a handle. I don't think it's going to be good for full size handle.
Yeah. A hatchet you can kind of use whatever wood you want as long as it's not like balsa or basswood or whatever. But
Yeah.
like
JBC, I don't know
I
if you were
was
around when I was saying
I
before,
was
but I used
told
to laminate
secondhand.
pallet wood together. So
Yeah. I was
you're good.
told secondhand by Kevin that like Purple Heart is an arthritis machine for a full handle.
Makes sense. It's very hard, I believe, right?
Yeah. It,
If you want to do something with Purple Heart, man, I would start with a wedge. And the salesman that I am, I'm going to pivot into. And if you want a wedge, go talk to machinist Mike the Tinkerer. But you can't find his ass because he's not on Instagram. But here's his contact information. Can we see that? Here's his contact information: 651-271-6596. Mike Sawicki, Dakota Sharpening Services. He makes a hell of a wedge, and he's
yeah.
got Purple Heart.
Though I will
You
say,
could,
I mean, if you want a purple axe handle, like just dye it. Just dye hickory or oak or something. Oak will probably take it
yeah.
a lot better than hickory, but because Purple
And
Heart also in the sun fades and turns brown over time. So like the whole like reason that you even want it is gonna go away eventually.
I'm gonna go back to the old axe rack here, because what I was gonna say too is I had not had a lot of experience with Purple Heart at all, and here it is. I used Purple Heart wedge on this build that I did. This is a
Mhm.
Douglas and Hamilton Co. Real old 1800s Connie. I did a Purple Heart wedge in it, and it once you oil it up, it just I don't know. It loses its luster. Like from the side the grain, it looks great. The end grain, it just darkens up. It's kind of one of those things where like if somebody's holding it and they look and they go, oh look at that, it's purple. But it's not one of those like an Osage or something like that where you could tell from a mile away. That's something cool, something special. So I like that Paduic or Paduac or Paduke,
Paduke.
depending
I
on
think
how
it's
you say
Paduke.
it. Paduke. Kevin says it his wacky way, and he's convinced me that that's how you say it.
Paduac?
Um,
Is it Paduac or
Paduic.
the
He says
Paduac?
Paduic.
I don't know. It's African, so
Where
we're
the
probably not pronouncing it right, even if we are pronouncing it close.
You know who would know how to pronounce it is Alex.
You probably would, yeah.
I put my dingo away already. I'm not going to pull it back out, but I sent Kevin up some zebra wood from Mike to wedge my dingo special, and
Mm.
he started banging out the Paduic, Paduac, Paduke cross wedges, and I was like, "Hey, man, hey, is it too late to ask to trade some of that zebra wood for the Paduke?" He's like, "No, I figured you were going to ask." I'm like, "Yeah, that shit looks good." And it really does. So,
Yeah.
and Mike sent me a couple pieces of that to play with the last trade we did too. So,
Yeah,
um,
I have some zebra wood. I made my mom a hatchet handle for Christmas out of zebra wood with laminated walnut.
nice.
and
You did a
then it came
laminated
out
wedge?
cordless. Uh, no, the whole handle laminated all the way up
Oh, okay.
was
Nice.
black because it was just going to be a wall hanger. She's not going to use it. It was like an old Plumb. I think it was a claw hatchet that the person had like broken one of the claws, so they just ground it all
Yep.
off.
I got one of those sitting up on the rack right now, actually. See that a lot. Because usually those claw hatchets, I think I want to say they might have had a hardened hammer end on them, so it
They
made them a
did,
little
yeah.
bit more brittle. Yeah, because you see that a lot with the Tommy axes too. You see the guys doing the Tommy mods, where they cut the claws off
Mm.
and they chamfer the pole. Like Nate from Iron Ox does that a lot. He does a really nice job with his Tommy mods. Um, so usually you find the Tommies, and at least one of them has a chipped nail puller, or I mean, at least one of the sides of the nail puller is chipped. But I had a really nice one that I sent up to Kevin, and I told him, I'm like, dude, this one, the nail puller is in good shape. Please don't cut it, because he went up to like Brimfield Flea Market or something like that, and he wound up grabbing a pristine Tommy axe. Like this is like right when he first started getting into it. He grabbed a pristine Tommy axe and he was like, "Oh, dude, check out this Tommy axe. I got it for like $8." I'm like, "Oh, sweet man, that thing's in great shape." And then like literally like 2 hours later, he sent me a picture of the claws caught up and all modded and stuff. And I was like, "Oh, Kevin, no, like no, no, I don't think you realize how not that they're rare, but how often you find a Tommy axe that's not all beat up. Because guys that bought those bought them to be a worker. Like nobody bought
Yeah,
those thinking, "Oh, this is my precious."
yeah. Isn't
So,
that how Black Ravens are? Like very few of them are like actually not beat up.
dude, I finding a black raven that's not beat to hell or registered even too is it's not very common. And you always see the black ravens with horrible, horrible bit wear. Um, and since you brought up the Black Ravens, I'll just give my unpopular opinion that I don't understand what the draw to Black Ravens is, other than the fact that somebody along the line said, "Oh, these are really cool and worth a lot of money." Um, I think
I mean,
this. I think the
they
etching
got
is
the cool
fine.
stamps on them. The
Yeah,
stamps are
the
very
etching's
ornate and
fine.
cool. I
I
think
wouldn't
that's it.
spend I wouldn't spend $300 on one, let alone 800, 1,000, $1,500 like some of these guys are getting. I just don't understand the appeal, and I think there are a lot other cooler etched axes out there than a Raven. Now,
The
that
old
being
school
said, if
Kelly
anybody
Perfects
has
with the
a
whole
the WC Kelly Perfect, oh yeah,
yeah with
man,
the whole
like
paragraph
that's
on it. That's awesome.
yeah. And the funny thing is, you can get one of those sometimes for the same price as some of these guys want for a Black Raven.
That's
So
nuts. Because those
yeah,
things like
that's
it's
nuts
hard
to
getting
me.
them if they have the full pair like the whole stamp in and everything. I think
Yeah,
I know Josh has one, or he might have two that have the whole thing.
yeah. You know what? A couple of our buddies talk to him on a regular basis, and I have not really had any interaction with him. But I don't know. I
Yeah,
just always kind of
you
like
should interact with Josh. He's a great guy.
yeah. I always just kind of feel like I don't. First of all, I don't know what to say, and then secondly, I don't want to like be like, "Hey, everybody told me you were really cool, so I just wanted to say." It's just kind of weird if it happens organically. Oh, Pacific Northwest Axes is here. Um, JBC Restorations. So take a cue from Pacific Northwest Axes. He made a couple comments, I think, on like one of my videos or Kevin's videos, and I can't remember what he said, but I was like, dude, you need to start making your own videos, and he did. So take a cue from him and make some long form content. But yeah, Pacific Northwest Axis, man, how you doing? And I'll tell you the same thing that I told JBC. I have a link, a Gmail account that I created, and the link is in the description of my page. So hit me up and shoot me your address, and I'll send you some stickers. Zach, talking to you guys. I don't know what to say, but it doesn't help that I'm high functioning autistic, so I speak weird. Yeah,
It's okay, brother. I'm a severe ADHD.
yeah. I've never been diagnosed with a learning disability per se, but my wife has her theories.
Yeah,
So,
we're
dude,
neurodivergent
listen.
all up in this bitch.
Um, here's the deal, man. Any of us that are obsessing over axes and like sitting here with compasses and bevel gauges and sitting out in our shops going like carving on our handles, we're all friggin' nerds, dude. I don't
Yeah,
care how awesome you think you look swinging axes into timber and stuff. We're all friggin' nerds. So
yeah.
like
Well, I
anybody that's
care
going to
about
come
how
on your
cool I look,
page,
but I
I
said
mean
I care
it's
about how cool I look, but
yeah. Well, I mean, looks. I mean, it's very difficult for a guy like me to look on cool. I mean, I just it's tough. It's one
handsome
of the
devils like
curses,
us, yeah,
unfortunately. It's one of the curses, unfortunately, of being a handsome devil. But you know, but yeah, man. I mean, dude, we're all axe nerds. Anybody that finds their way to your channel watching you hand carve a handle or something like that, if they have anything to say about it, be like, buddy, you're watching my shit.
yeah,
So what does that say about you? Oh,
yeah.
Mike Law is here. What's going on? Mike Law is
Hey,
also
Mike.
another.
Yeah,
Do
I
you know Mike
seen your
Law?
video about his incredible collection and his gigantic 8 pound. What even was it? A Dayton?
I think it was a Dayton, but it was a Collins. It was an old Collins Legitimus.
Yeah, my giant Collins Legitimus Dayton is only like 4 pounds and like 10 ounces.
Dude, this thing I've never seen an axe that big. It was enormous. It was like I think I laid it out. I think I laid it
Yeah,
out like this, and it was like halfway up my forearm or something. It was
yeah, no, they're
massive.
absurd. Like I'm gonna bring out mine because like even when it's like half that weight, it's still ridiculous. Like this is excessive. And it was on a tiny little like curvy handle that was actually what I based the Munasai off of, like to some extent. But like this thing is so long. It's the
Yeah,
entire length of my head. And I got a big
that's
head.
uh that's a boy's axe compared to that one that Mike has.
Yeah, I know.
Um,
And this is the
Pacific
longest
Northwest, all
single
of
bit
our
axe
wives
I
have
own.
theories about us. Yeah, dude, you're working a lot of shifts. That's cool. But whenever you get a chance, man, bang a couple more videos out, dude. You know what? I've been meaning to do a video on this head, and Ethical Axe showed this in one of his videos recently. But I'll just show this one. So Mike is super generous, dude. He gifted me this. Um, so this is one. This is a Kelly Axe and Toolworks, Charleston, West Virginia, Jersey, four
Mm.
pounder, I believe. So right off the bat, like freaking sweet, awesome gift, man. But if that wasn't cool enough, look at this. Can we see this? It's got a WPA field stamping on it. Works Progress Administration. A
Mm.
field stamping right there.
That's
Um,
awesome.
and as Mike explained to me too, the field stampings indicate that it might actually be even earlier in the Works Progress Administration because eventually they were stamped from the factory like the CCCs and the Forest Service axes. But when they came out with that bill, it was during the Great Depression to give men jobs, and because it was a government project, all the
Yeah.
tools had to be stamped, by law, whatever it was, right? So they just had a bunch of True Temper, a bunch of Collins, all this stuff, and they were putting field stampings on them. The one that Ethical Axe had actually had like it was done with like dots, like with a punch or something, right? Like a center punch. This one looks like it was done with some kind of like chisel or something, maybe like somebody was doing it like in little like bars, WPA. But even if it didn't have that stamping, it's a beautiful example of like a big, heavy 4 pound jersey. Gorgeous.
Hmm.
I was really appreciative of him to hook me up with that, and I have to do a video on that. I have another head that's coming my way via a gift. I don't want to ruin the surprise. Somebody reached out and made me a really generous offer, and I think I'm going to do a nice collection video of some axes that I was fortunate enough to receive um, as gifts. And I think I'm probably not going to name names or anything just because I think the axe community is a little bit better about this. But when you start saying, "Oh, so and so gave me something," um, I don't. I feel like people tend to go, "Oh, real? Oh, maybe I ought to start hanging." You know what I mean? Like I noticed that a lot. I used to be in the bushcraft community pretty heavily, and I noticed that like when it came to light that certain people were more generous, people started hitting them up an awful lot, wanting to be friendly with them, and I'm like, that just kind of rubs me the wrong way. It's like if you're reaching out to somebody because you know they like to be generous, it's just kind of gross. So
Yeah.
when I gift people things or whatever, and when I do generous things with people, I generally like to keep it as anonymous as possible because I don't need people hitting me up going, "Hey, Milcree, hi, let's be friends." I'm like, why? You know what I mean? Like, why are you hitting me
Mhm.
up out of the blue? Summer project, let's hang the 8-pounder and pass it around. Yeah, Mike, you were talking about doing that, and I'm all for it, man. Mike wants to do a
Yeah.
pass around with that 8-pounder. Um, I can't remember, Mike, what the profile looks like on that thing, but I don't.
It's probably insane.
Yeah, I can't remember if it was a chopping profile or a splitting profile, but whatever it was freaking nuts, dude. I'd never seen a head that big. Like, remember the Tassie that I just showed you? Actually, I wound up purchasing off Mike that day, which he also gave me a screaming good deal on that too. So thanks again, Mike. But I remember looking at that, like this head looked tiny in comparison to that big old Legitimus that he had. And this is a freaking this is a legit 4.9 something pound Tassie. Like they don't get much bigger than this.
Yeah, no, my white whale Dream Axe is like a oversized Forester.
Yeah, you're a big fan of the high test, huh?
I
I
am.
um I have the Plumb Tassie, and I have
Yeah.
this what I can only assume is a high test Tassie, and that's it. Like you were saying, I don't have tons and tons of discretionary income, so getting super into the Tasmanian patterns is you know probably not the best idea because
My
I don't want to have to take out a second mortgage or something.
my sister is in Melbourne right now. I need to
Oh,
like get
really?
well, I need to get her like working the streets, like going to yard sales, finding me.
I'm gonna quote you on that.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to get my sister work in the streets.
Yeah.
Okay, interesting, interesting. But yeah, dude, she's got to hit some yard sales up while she's
Yeah.
there for sure.
Yeah. If there's any
That's the one
Aussies in the
thing.
audience, they just got mad about my pronunciation of Melbourne. I think it's like Melbourne or some. I don't know.
Melbourne.
I don't
Yeah.
know. I don't know how to pronounce it right.
Um. Do you ever watch? I believe his name. Believe he goes by Kurt S on YouTube.
Yeah, yeah. He's a, he's
All right.
a he's a beast.
Yeah, he does really cool videos. Um. So I just got the death stare from my wife. She
Uh,
came out here. So my dog must be going nuts in the house. So to wrap up, Curtis is a beast. Yeah, yeah, yep. Melbourne people don't like when you pronounce Melbourne the wrong way. But yeah, dude. Um, so when you get the lumber, is all dependent on when you're going live with the Munasai, which should probably be relatively soon, right? I mean, summer.
yeah, I mean, hopefully end of March, hopefully,
Okay,
but I will be announcing when it is. It's not like I'm trying to drag my feet on it. I'd be starting tomorrow if I could. It's just the lumber
right.
situation's kind of difficult. I
And
when I spoke to that farmer, just wrap this up before we wrap it up. When I spoke to that farmer you recommended I go to, Brian or whatever,
yeah,
like
yeah,
he's
yeah,
like
that guy. Yep.
yeah. He told me that he doesn't even keep hickory because like, nobody wants it. So there's
Interesting.
probably a lot of hickory that's just going straight to people's burning piles. It's
Yeah,
like
I
it's
only
like
ever had a phone call. I had a phone call with that guy, and I told him what I was looking for. And admittedly, I had that phone call like 6 or 7 months ago, or whatever, 6 or 7 months ago. Um, so who knows? Maybe things changed or whatever. But yeah, it sucks that you drove all the way out there for kind of nothing. Um, shit, what was I gonna say? Oh, they can hit you up on Instagram, right? To
yeah,
place
they can hit me
orders.
up on
You don't have a
Instagram,
website
of
yet,
course.
right?
Yeah, I have a few people that contacted me already asking when it's opening up and saying and telling me they're definitely interested. I think I have like, I don't know. I think I have at least three, but
Good. The more, and just Kevin will
yeah.
tell you, the more people that are swinging your stuff and posting about it on Instagram, you're going to start to see an influx. Because
Hmm.
he, not that he had trouble filling the first, because he filled the first. Kevin does a really good job of marketing.
Yeah.
He's very good at, so I mean, dude, anything Kevin puts his mind to, he's very good at. It's actually kind of annoying. Um,
It's
he's
the
just very
ADHD
talented,
power.
huh?
It's severe ADHD
It's his, yeah,
powers.
it's his Captain OCD powers, exactly. But yeah, whatever he puts his mind to, I told him you should put your mind into the stock market, buddy.
Yeah,
That's what
I
you should
wish
put your
I could
mind
do
into
that too.
next.
I
Um,
always think that it's like, damn, like all my ADHD hyperfixations are things that don't like actually help me at all, like axes and
Financially,
video
yeah,
games, and instead it's instead of like the
yeah.
stock market or getting me a better job.
You guys gotta put your money, I mean your minds into the stock market, and then you need to relay that information to me, and let's all make a bunch of money. And then once we have enough money to retire, we can all get back to the Axis thing and just not have to worry about a day job anymore.
Yeah, we could build an axe
So Greiss
compound.
Axing Tool, Greiss Axing Tool on Instagram, Greiss Axing Tool on YouTube.
Hmm.
Keep posting the videos, dude. I think I enjoy the way you make videos. And I think your subs are going to continue to climb the more you post, obviously. But yeah, dude, thanks for hanging out. I'm going to go inside and get yelled at now.
Okay.
um, awesome job with the handle, man. I know I've said it to you. It really, really good job. And regardless of whatever preferences people may have on their handle, there's no denying that it's quality. It's made very, very well. So good job, man. Um, Obviously we'll look forward to speaking with you in the future, man. Have a good
Hmm.
rest of your Sunday. If it snows, be careful, take it easy, stay
You
safe.
too.
All right,
Yep.
have a good one,
Catch you
guys.
later,
Thanks
Joe.
everybody for hanging out.
Yeah. Thanks, everybody. Bye.
Bye.